Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the Montana 6 SA from our Smart Air collection. So the Montana 6 is a 6-person family tent that has 2 bedrooms at the back, a large sealed living space and of course this extended canopy on the front, which we will go into detail in shortly. Firstly though, I just want to talk you through the features on the outside of the tent, and to start off I want to talk to you about the frame that we're using on the main part of the tent here. So this is in our Smart Air collection, so of course the tent is an inflatable tent. More so because it's in our Smart Air collection, we are using our advanced air tube system. So this is our one-go inflation technology where all of the beams of this tent are all interconnected from front to back. So what that means is there's only one single plug-in point for the pump to inflate the entire tent. So it's really quick and easy to inflate. So you just see here, there is an air in valve just here, and if I take this back, I'll just show you that this is where we attach the pump. Really easy to do. You just pop the pump in there and it's ready to go. So when you're inflating the tent, of course, you can use the pump that we supply with it. It is a 2-way or double action pump. So what that means is every time you pull up on the lever and push down on the lever, you are inflating the tubes with each stroke of the pump. We would recommend inflating this tent up to 7 psi, which represents about 0.5 bar. Now, in case you're worried about how you know where that is, there is a pressure gauge on top of the pump here, so you can keep an eye on the pressure when inflating the tent. In terms of taking the tent down and deflating, it's really simple and easy to do as well. Each individual tube actually has its own release valve. So just on this one, for example, it's just underneath the air in valve. So here you can quite clearly see it says air out. If you just pull that back, you'll see this is the release valve. So all we have to do is switch this to the open position and the air will come out of that tube. And of course the same with the rest of them. So as I say, really quick and easy to inflate and to deflate as well. In terms of material that we're using on here, this is our Outex 6000. So as far as Outwell polyester tents go, this is our top line. This is a 6000 hydrostatic head premium quality polyester tent. So to get the 6000 hydrostatic head, of course, we tape all of the seams and we PU coat the inside of the tent as well, ensuring that it is completely waterproof. As I say, with a hydrostatic head of 6000 mil, basically that means that you can be safe to know that no matter what weather is thrown at you, you will stay dry inside this tent. So just to highlight that this fly sheet has been fully UV treated to ensure that you get maximum lifespan for the tent. We also use our aero-effective ventilation on here, so this is a real streamlined ventilation system that we use. Under here you'll see there is a mesh panel on the inside. If you want to take that away, if it gets a little bit too cold of course, you can do so just by removing the Velcro tabs on the side here and pushing down. So next I want to just highlight the fact that we have these really large windows all the way around the front and the side of the tent here. Good size windows allowing lots of light into the tent, but there's actually tinted windows, so you get reduced amount of glare from the sun on the inside, and of course you get much better privacy within the tent as well. You can also see all the way around here we're using our classic luminous Outwell guy lines on here, so hopefully you shouldn't trip over these quite as easily when it's a bit darker. And our well-known guy line retainers are just situated on the bottom part of the guy line here, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can wrap up the guy lines and pop them in here so that you're not wasting time untangling a mess of guy lines the next time you come to use it. So at the front here, as I mentioned earlier on, the tent has this large extended canopy on the front of it. Now this is put together with a steel pole across the front here, so that's going to just ensure maximum rigidity. Even if the wind does pick up a little bit, then it's going to be nice and solid, and you've got these good quality strong storm straps on the front as well, just to really tension this whole thing up. If the wind really starts to pick up, it's probably advisable just to whip this off, and it's really simple and easy to do. All the way around the front of the tent is a full length zip, so you can just unzip this and take it down if the weather gets really, really bad. Stepping round to the front here, we'll just highlight the fact that you do have this large canopy on here, so still really good head height at the front on this canopy, and that's a lot to do with the frame back here, which we'll talk about. But for now, certainly the canopy just gives you a great sheltered space on the outside of the tent, so if you're lucky enough for it to be a hot sunny day, you've got some shelter here, some shade rather, or if it is maybe warm but just a little bit drizzly, then as I say, you've got a shelter here as well. The front door is a D door, so you can see here that it's rolled away to the side and then just zips in the sort of D shape around us here. But it is a good size, allowing easy access in and out of the tent, of course, and making it that little bit easier to get all of your kit in and out of the tent. Now, one thing, if you don't have the canopy on here, then what we do is we seal this front door completely. We actually have a sort of wet door, if you like, on here, completely waterproof. So what I want to highlight is, if you can imagine the door being zipped closed here, the zip is tucked in way behind this piece of material here, and back here is where you then have the zipper. But on the inside of that, we then also tape the seams of the zip, so just that little bit extra detail, making sure that you're not going to get any water coming in through this front door at all. So next, what I want to highlight is the shape of the tent that we've got on here is a Gothic arch shape, so you can see that it actually peaks up towards the centre of the tent. That's given great head height, and it's also given that extra bit of stability as well. So next, we'll pop inside and show you some details in there. The Montana 6 SA features a fully sealed ground sheet. That's from front to back and side to side. It's a bathtub style ground sheet as well. So if you just check down the side here, you'll see that it comes up along the edges, up the way like this, and that's going to stop any drafts from coming in. It's going to keep out things like dirt and dust and sand and things like that. And more importantly, hopefully keep out those unwanted bugs as well. What I do want to highlight about the ground sheet is the fact that we have this flat front here at the entrance, so this can just be pegged down to allow easy access in and out of the tent. But what you will notice is there's a zip that runs along the front here, and we have actually covered that with this PVC material just to ensure that when you fold this up, when you zip the door closed, you get a completely watertight seal around the edges. So back into the tent, as I mentioned before, there's actually plenty of space in here. Lots of head height thanks to that Gothic arch shape. I'm quite tall, about 195, and you can see I can certainly stand up here in here, no problem whatsoever. And lots of space inside the living area as well for furniture and storage and things like that. That is accentuated by these large windows that I mentioned earlier on, allowing enough light into the tent to make it feel nice and spacious. But remember, they are tinted, so you still get the privacy aspect as well. If you want a little bit more privacy, then each one of the windows has its own curtain, which you can see we have just rolled away and toggled at the moment. And we can just zip these curtains to the desired level, depending on how much privacy or how much light you want in the tent itself. So going back to something that I talked about earlier on is the advanced air tube system, where we have all of the tubes in here all linked together. Now, how we do this is with these valves between the tubes like this. Once the tent is inflated, it's a good idea just to pop these valves into the off position just simply by twisting in like this. What that does is it then separates each of the tubes individually, so that in the unlikely event of something going wrong, the whole tent will not drop down in one. It would just be one single tube that would be isolated. Like I say though, that's very unlikely to happen. So some other features to highlight then, we have a lantern hanging point in a good central location right in the middle of the tent here. And we actually have cable tidies which run both directions away from this. And if I just move this chair here, what you will see is these cable tidies run all the way down to a cable entry point here, which is zipped closed here or open like this. So what you can see is even though the door is closed, you can still run your electrics into the tent. So that's something to highlight while I'm here, of course, is that there is a side entrance on here, and this has a full mesh door which we have zipped down at the moment. There is, of course, a full waterproof door on the outside of that, which also has a tinted window built into it as well. On the other side is our rain-safe entrance, which we can now just show you from the outside. So here you can see this rain-safe entrance, and how this is in position is with this full-length alloy pole. So this actually does go all the way down to the ground here, and of course through the pole sleeve at the top, creating what is a full sort of side porch, if you like. So this area is going to be great to use if you don't have that front canopy on there, because this is actually protected from the sealed part of the tent. So if it's chucking it down with rain, you've got a good bit of shelter here and an area where you can take off things like your muddy boots and over trousers and things like that. It does also have a ground sheet in here, which is just a bathtub toggle ground sheet. Again, this doesn't have to be in place if you don't want it. There are windows on the sides here as well, and these do have curtains, which we have rolled away at the moment, which you can bring out just to close over. So this is a really useful area of the tent, of course, to use as an entrance, or even if you want it for storage for shoes and boots or toys and things like that, or even to have a portable toilet in here. So that was the door from the outside, but just to highlight that on the inside we do have a full zippable mesh door as well, so great for ventilation throughout the tent because you then have both side doors available as mesh. At the back is where we have the bedroom situated, and as I mentioned earlier on, the tent can sleep up to 6 people, split across 2 bedrooms. And a really nice feature here is that these bedrooms actually come pre-attached, so that's a job that you don't need to worry about doing. They're already in place for you. Some of the features on the outside, we have some handy storage pockets here, so ideal for smaller personal possessions. I just highlight that the door on the bedrooms on both sides here has a large mesh panel as well. So if you want ventilation within the bedroom, then you can have that, or if you want the privacy or keep nice and cozy in there, then you can have it as we have here with the curtain behind that mesh zipped up completely. So a great feature in these bedrooms is the fact that they are master bedrooms, which is where we have a much deeper and much more spacious bedroom than what you might find elsewhere. These are actually 250 centimetres deep. So you can see at the moment we have a large inflatable bed in here, but there is still certainly a good amount of space around there. Nice and spacious around the sort of head and foot height area as well, and that's largely thanks to a more vertical rear wall, allowing for a little bit more space. You'll also just notice here that we have windows all the way around the bedroom, so that gives you a view out of the bedroom, but also allows just a little bit of light in there during the day. You'll see that we have these mesh panels which correspond to ventilation just above the windows. And what you will notice as well is on these mesh panels, I just sneak in here, you'll see we've got these easy to grab zip pullers on here just to open up these panels like this, and then that allows you access into a curtain just behind here, which can just be toggled closed, obviously in all the corners, to close over these windows just to give you that little bit of privacy. Also at the back, across the top here, we have a hanging rope in there, and then what you'll also see is we're using our night sky ceiling, just so that it's a little bit darker in the mornings, giving you a nice long peaceful lie in. You'll find in the corners of the bedrooms we also have these handy storage pockets here, ideal for smaller personal possessions within the bedrooms. Also, I just want to highlight that the dividing wall between the 2 bedrooms is a fully zippable wall. If I just move out your way there, you'll see you can just zip this open to create one large bedroom, or you can have it as we have here with the divider fully zip closed to creating those 2 3-person bedrooms. These bedrooms also feature our universal inner system, and that is what these zips at the front are for here, and we'll just show you now how that works. So we have a number of optional extras available for the Montana 6A. That would include a 3-layer insulated carpet for the living area like we have in here at the moment. There's also a fleece carpet available. There's a footprint available to go underneath the ground sheet of this just for that little bit more insulation and protection, keeping the ground sheet clean and dry on those wet and muddy days. And of course we also have a full awning available as an optional extra as well. So there you have it, that's all the features of our Montana 6 SA from our Smart Air collection. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, this tent can be inflated using our Typhoon 12-volt compressor pump.